The Radium Podcast, episode 102, featuring a very special guest this week, and I wanted to introduce him here, Clint Music. Let's get into it. We're going to be talking sync licensing. We're going to be talking about all the multiple publishers he's signed to and that he's working with on the daily, his placements across network television, across multiple places where he's collecting his CSAC revenue, and we're going to talk about how you can get that revenue as well. So let's get right into the podcast. I will not bore you anymore. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with anyone that could use this information. Enjoy. Here we go. We got the man of the hour. What's happening, man?
Yo. What's good, man? How you feeling, bro?
Man, so good. It's hump day, man. You know, it's like it's the middle of the week, so I've just been working. You know?
Yeah, nah, I feel you, bro. Same here, man. It's been nonstop this week, man. So crazy.
Yeah, you getting those Christmas commercials, Christmas trap beats?
No, so the Christmas stuff came quick, bro. Like that was like 3-4 months ago. So yeah, I mean. Yeah, it like came and then went, like, and I haven't really seen anything about it. But the dope thing about Christmas music is, like, you know, you can always keep it in the stash, and next year roll around, they'll be asking for it around, I think it was like around June this year.
Yeah, man, it was early this year. Yeah. Like usually it's around like August.
Yeah, exactly.
August, even September trickles in. With commercials, it's funny. Like I feel like they just keep trickling in because they got to get all the last minute stuff in. You know what I mean? I wanted to also just kind of start by you introducing yourself a little bit. What I know about you is that, you were in Anchorman 2.
Yes, I was in Anchorman 2.
How the hell did that come about, dude? You just at the dinner table?
Man, yeah, dude. So I did quite a few extra gigs here in Atlanta, man, and they had hit me up and asked me if I wanted to be like in this featured scene or whatever on Anchorman 2. And I was like, of course, dude. Will Ferrell's hilarious. So yeah, I was like, cool. So they set the thing up. I had to go get styled, like, you know, a few days before. And like, literally, man, like I went to this warehouse and they had like racks of like thrift clothes. Like it was like literally walking into the Salvation Army and they was just walking around trying stuff out. Like, try this on. And the theme was like, I think it was based in like the 70s. So the theme was 70s, right? And I'm like, I'm a bald man, number one.
Yeah, that's not very 70s, bro.
It's not 70s at all, man. So they was just like, okay, we got to do something. They was just like, would you mind cutting your beard off? And I was just like, okay, you know, we'll chop it off. But this was the thing, man. They made me cut it off and just keep the chops. So it was like, it stopped right here and I'm bald, bro. Like, so I'm like, this doesn't work. This look doesn't work, but it was all good, man. So I did that, got fitted. They put on a fake fro, which made the chops look a little bit better.
There you go. That's solid.
Yeah, man. And then, man. And then we shot. It was like an all-day joint. We shot. It was Will Ferrell, Megan Good, some other dope actors, some other extras. And we literally just sat there and ate cold food scene after scene. And the food was actually kind of good. I'm not gonna lie, but it was fun, man. It was fun.
I think that's so funny, man. Just the random stuff that happens when you're in the music industry. It parallels so much to the entertainment industry. I remember doing voiceovers for like medical companies where you're like, you know, may cause diarrhea and you're going to get these random bumps on your genitals. And I'm like, what am I saying, dude? And I'm like, all right, well, you know, send me the check. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I bet you wish you got a sync in that film.
Oh yeah, dude. That would have been dope. I would have had to tap into my 70s vibe, man. But yeah, that would have been dope for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of funk in there. There's a lot of the, you know.
Yeah. I feel like I feel like Will Ferrell likes a lot of funk and like soulful music, man. It's like he's always in the 70s with funk music, so that's his thing.
That's what's up, though, man. I'm into that.
Yeah. Yep.
So shit, man. So Clint here, tell us a little bit about like how you really got into, because you know there's like you get your keyboard or your guitar or your drums when you're like, you know, a teenager or you're 12 or 13 or whatever. And there's that story and everything, and that's cool. And that's always like the preliminary, like preschool, you know, kindergarten story. But like, where did you get your first like, yo, I just made some money with some music?
The first time I probably made some music as like a legit producer was I did an indie project. It was an indie gospel project for this artist named Andrew Cooks from Columbus, Ohio. She was the first client that I did a contract with and produced her album. So I was geeked, man. Like I think I did the whole thing for like $600, bro.
It's the bargain barrel, man.
It was insane, but we had a good time, and you know we knew each other as well. So I was a young cat, man, in college, just trying to just trying to get my reps up, man, and get that practice in. So any amount I was grateful for, because you know it gave me the opportunity to learn, and it was my first opportunity to actually produce and you know record vocals. You know that was pretty exciting, and I grew a lot from that. So yeah, definitely appreciative of that.
Yeah, those are funny times, man, because you know I feel like now, because the internet and like social media and the availability to just like put music out there in the world on BeatStars and sell it and make funnels and do all this stuff.
Right.
You know, people like almost have this expectation that they should just be getting paid all the time for their music. And man, like, I think probably 80% of my music and my time spent making music has been for free. You know? And I'm happy as hell when something makes some money, you know? But for the most part, you're trying to just break even, you know? You're trying to like live this lifestyle and make enough money to pay the bills and the studio and the gear and everything else, man, because it's so expensive. Yeah,
no, it is for sure. Yeah, man, I went through that struggle, man, because I relocated to Atlanta in 2011, and I was a full-time gigging musician. So yeah, it was definitely like a paycheck to paycheck situation for sure.
Yeah, gigging musicians, man. Like even like some of the session players I work with, they're just incredibly talented, and they're union players. You know, like these are guys, girls that are in the LA Phil. You know, they're the top of the top guitar players, bass players, whatever. I mean, even them, like they get these points where they're like, yeah, I'll do a session for $100. You know, you're like, yeah, really, man? All right. Let's go. You know? Yeah. But yeah, man, it is a bit of a struggle, but let's talk about how good the money can be, because you know, I don't know about you, but just lately, man, like I've gotten many 5-figure syncs, you know, that are just like from commercials, and they're 30 seconds long or they're 45 seconds long, and it's like, whoa, you're gonna give me $15K for that? Like, thanks. Yeah. You know? So I think that's really important to talk about as well, because a lot of the times I think you have to average it out, right? It's like you work on music for 3 months and you may not be getting paid for like 2.5 months. And then that big check comes through and it kind of like, you know, balances out where you're like, okay, now I made a pretty good amount of money for the last 3 months.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, you have any do you get like work on stuff that has like big upfront syncs fees, or do you typically do like go for the back end?
A combination of both. Like I have the opportunities that have the upfront stuff, you know, like you said, 4 or 5 figure stuff and usually those stuff is like for brands, ads, things like that. Then of course a lot of the back end stuff, that was kind of where I got my foot in the door, is doing a lot of reality TV stuff. You know, it's a good way to get in and start to learn about the music licensing business. So yeah, still see a lot of back end royalties from that stuff, which is cool, and you know, it just kind of adds up over time. And then one time, dude, I seen a brief. It was like It was for an ad campaign. I think it was like for a car brand or something in the UK. But it was a 6-figure like fee. It was like a buyout, but it was 6 figures. I didn't get that joint, but I tried. It was due in like 2 hours. I was like, yo, I gotta go for it, man, because that is massive.
Bro, how many times have you like literally just gone for it and it lands and you're like, dude, that was not my best work?
I'm sure it's happened a couple times. I'm trying to think of like a specific one. Nah, like I mean, I've been in a couple situations where it was just like a last minute joint. I just finished one up now, but we're still kind of waiting to see what happens. But, you know, it's a good chance, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, man, you do the best you can do with the time that you're given. And then I just try not to like get super attached to it and just be like, mix sounds good, it's solid. If they want any edits or changes, then they'll just let me know. And, you know, I'll just kind of go from there.
Yo, dude, I want you to like really talk on that, because this is something that I think a lot of people don't understand. If they haven't been working in sync or working to write on commercials, TV shows, films, trailers, promos, TV promos, if they haven't spent a good, 5 years or more on it, they really don't understand how this whole thing works. And right. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. You shouldn't know how it works if you haven't done it long enough, right? But right. You know what I mean? But it's just part of like just inexperience. But I want you to really talk about like when you send out something to a publisher, to an ad agency, to a music supervisor, right? Like, are you, how many times they hit you back, give you notes, let you know like what they think of the track, Dude,
a lot. Like sometimes, like the reality TV stuff where it's going to a library. That stuff, I don't get a whole lot of, back and forth. It may be, turn this 808 down a little bit or something like that. But I feel like I had a situation where, we were doing, it was like a team of composers. We were doing some stuff and I think it was for some publisher, and they get a lot of good placements and stuff. Man, the revisions were so tedious and nitpicky. And it was one of those situations where you'll get to like the 4th revision and then they're like, oh yeah, remember when you did that thing in like the 2nd revision? Can you like bring that back into this and then do this and that and this and it's like, it's crazy, bro. Like, and it happens sometimes. I have a project I'm working on now, and it's on my list of revisions needed. And it's a whole email just of revisions on each track that I have to go through and fine tune some things, fine tune some risers and some cymbals and just different things, man. Because sometimes they know what they want, or they want to give the editors as many options as possible. And sometimes that means going in and reworking stuff until you get it right. And a lot of producers transitioning from producing for the artist side, even though, working with artists, you can have a bunch of revisions too, but a lot of them aren't used to the kinds of revisions that's being asked for in TV and film. And, some of them get frustrated and just be like, it's not for me.
Yeah, that's facts. And I think it's hard sometimes because what I've experienced a lot of the times with the commercial world, because I spent a lot of time working on commercials. That was my main like gig as far as like if I was talking about sync licensing, it would be right. It'd be for commercials, just because it's the fees are so much higher. It's like right. They're going to give you $40K. They got $25,000. They got, these are marketing budgets. They're not like, TV budgets where they're like, yeah, you're going to get back in, it'll take a while. It'll stack up, but just wait. Yeah. So for me, it was like always frustrating when you'd have like these mix notes come through, oh, this thing is just a little loud. And you're like, good God, like you guys have the stems, like you have the stems for every single version I did, through version 12. Just turn the fucking hi-hat down.
Yep.
It's like, do you guys really need me? And they do expect you to go back. And I thought that was like the biggest lesson that I ever learned was it's in the commercial world, it's more about service. You know, you go to these mixes, like I'd go to the mixes with the agency creatives, right? You go and you sit there and they want to pop champagne and they want to be, you know, they want to be serviced. They want hand and foot, like, take care of me. I'm a creative at a commercial agency, you know, bring the cheese, bring the fine wines, you know, spoil me, turn that hi-hat down 2 dB, please. You know, so I learned that, man, like that you can't get frustrated with it. You can't think, oh, these guys are idiots, you know, just turn the hi-hat down.
Yep.
You know, turn the snare down. You got the stem. You know, you got to just be like, no problem. I got you. You know, and it's an easy revision. It's just, it's tedious stuff and it does get really tiring.
Yeah.
But that's definitely something, I don't know do you experience that a lot working with publishers directly and libraries directly that they want to go back and forth and give you notes and perfect that stuff?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, like not as much, as like, you know, the brand commercial stuff, but absolutely, man, I get it from time to time. And yeah, you're right. Like it's about service, man, serving other people. So, you know, you put on that servant hat and you know, give them what they want with a positive attitude, man. And that'll keep the work coming.
That's 100%. Like for me, I realized, like, you know, being a young guy in the game, where when I was 20, you know, it was that arrogant kind of ego thing where like, dude, I'm a badass. I make music, bro. You know, I'm in a band. I'm a badass. I make music. I write songs. You know, girls like that, you know, all that kind of stuff, to like, you know, dealing with people that are actually wanting to give you, you know, $20,000 to make a 30-second piece of music, and you getting pissed off about it and then being like, why am I so mad about this? This is more than a lot of people make in months of work, you know?
Exactly.
And yeah, that's something you really have to suck up, and you have to go, okay, I'm not necessarily in a rock band anymore, or in my thing, you know, in my pocket. Now I'm helping people and I'm serving someone, and I'm working in a business, and those are your employers. Those are the people, they're your bosses. Like, you can get fired real quick off of a commercial job or TV show or movie, especially like film. They'll just see you later. You're so disposable to them, you know? Yeah, they can find somebody else, man. Like there's so many artists in the submission inbox of these companies, dude. So yeah, you just gotta be grateful, man, and make the best of it, you know? Yeah. So what's like the biggest sync you ever got?
Man, biggest sync. I landed Netflix, Napoli Ever After. That wasn't even my music. Like, I was on the publishing side of it. But that was dope. It was with some friends, the APX. And they're so dope. And they made that, the whole situation was crazy, bro, because the connect to the supervisor came from a relationship that I established when I was out in New York working on some artist stuff for Sony. And like that, it was like, you know, we just kind of kept in touch, and, you know, I would answer licensing questions and stuff like that. And then the question that came up was just like, yo, like, do you have contact information for such and such? I'm just like, nah, I don't. But if I come across it, like, I'll let you know for sure. So then like some time went by, maybe an hour, a couple hours later, he hit me back. He was like, dude, guess what? I was like, what? He was like, I had it in my phone because we had sent some stuff to them a while back and they had used some stuff. And then he shot me the info. I was like, bet. Like, I appreciate that, because people don't have to do that, man. Yeah,
so that's true for sure. Like, nobody needs to hook you up, you know?
Nah, not at all, man. Nobody owes you anything. So he did that. And man, like like around the time, I think I was chopping it up with my friends, and I was just like, yo, like, y'all's branding and like everything is like super on point. And I was just like, yo, like, let me see what I can do. Like, give me a year, couple years. Let me see if I can get y'all a TV placement. And then all of that happened around the same time. So I hit up the Music Soup, and I was just like, yo, this is APX, blah, 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 blah. Like, they got, all these heavy hitters telling, critiquing their music, telling them how dope they are.
Yeah.
Dude hit me back in like 15 minutes. And I was like, wow, that's probably a record response from a supervisor. And he was just like, yo, like, this is right up my alley. It's perfect. I'm actually working on a scene right now. Like, I'm going to try it out. And I was just like, dope. So it didn't end up working for the original scene that, they were trying it out for. But then I want to say maybe a couple months later, they sent what was it? They sent like a sample agreement or like intent to use or something, license agreement, right, in the email. And I was just like, oh, sweet. Definitely wasn't expecting that. Yeah. And then that happened. So it was a good look for them. And it was exciting because that was probably like the first film placement that I actually, that we actually were credited on. You got the artist name and then my publishing company name and then the writers and things like that. So it was a win for all of us, man. So that was a big one for me.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. Yep. And I love the the law of reciprocity at play there. It's yep. It's so important in music to always like help people out. Yep. Even if you like, this guy is bugging me or whatever, it's like, just help him out. Cause you really never know like what comes back around from that. And it's pretty crazy. Like I can pinpoint so many times in my music career that just has happened, and I don't know how it happened. Maybe I was just nice to someone in the room, or they're like, oh, you were cool to me at this place or this bar or something. And I'm like, really? Okay. And then they hook you up or they connect you with someone or a referral comes across or whatever. And it's just wild, man. Like I can't stress that enough. With music, it's an interesting place because now everybody can do it and it's so wide open. Mm-hmm. But if you're truly into music, like you really love music, then you love communicating because that's what music really is. It's like storytelling, it's communication on the highest level. It's that thread that goes throughout humanity. And if you're really, really in love with music, you're really in love with that. You're in love with the idea of communicating with people on a different plane, not just language, not just, dance and everything, but it's a different thing. And I think that connection and that communication in music is what people that really are into music, that's what I think really is the pulling magnetic force for the people that are really in love with it. Wow. Hopefully you're getting a lot out of this information. It's like a fire hose coming at you. And the most important thing is that you're applying this information after these podcasts. I wanted to give just 30 seconds to something that's very near and dear to my heart. And I wanted to talk about it a little bit. It's a music mentoring program that I put together that's very private, that I just started just a couple years ago and has grown into a community of amazing composers, producers, artists, and engineers looking to sync license their music, get placements in TV, commercials, films, and also just records and with labels and develop relationships and understand the process of building those undeniable market viable songs, how you arrange them, how you get them mixed, mastered. It includes everything you need. And I'd like to be that support that you need. So if you're interested in something like that and a group of elite performers, click the link in the description and get on board. Join the Radium Roundtable. Right now, we're looking for new members. Back to the show. Yeah, man, I got a little question here from my guy, Kev.
Let's do it.
Yeah, he's saying, if you have a feature on a song, would it still be considered a one-stop? Are songs with features avoided by music supervisors? That's a great question. Yeah. I'm gonna let you take that one, Clint, because I think that's being in the music world and the sync world.
With that, if the feature, if they wrote their part and they have a percentage on the song, the only way it could become one stop, if you're the only other composer on it, is if you have some type of agreement in place to be able to sign something on their behalf. Outside of that, then they would have to, and that's kind of like, maybe like a publishing or licensing agreement, giving you permission to be able to sign off on a license or something like that. But typically, if you don't have that in place, then, they would have to sign an agreement as well. And that happens. If you have a co-writer, it usually doesn't deter them too much, as long as they're like on their stuff, responsive. Y'all got splits together, and like, and they're not like connected to like a major record label or publishing deal, because that can cause headaches with the clearance too.
Yeah, I find that that's what most publishers will steer away from, or labels, or anybody wanting to sign or run with the music is, are you on another publishing deal? Do you have any other obligations? Because we don't want anything to do with that. We're not paying anybody else out. You know what I mean? No, they don't want to go through that headache for sure.
Nope.
To add on to that, Kev, what he's talking about here is just a clause in a contract, right? It's saying, hey, I'm the producer, you're the feature, sign this. I put a little clause in here saying that I can actually sign off on sync licensing or publishing agreements, etc., in your name or whatever. Like, I can be the one to solely sign off on this. My company can be the one to sign off on this sync placement, as long as I pay you out this much or whatever agreement you guys have in place. So that's just the contract clause, and every agreement's different. But another thing that I would try to do always with the feature is just either buy the feature out. Like, hey, you're going to get on my track, dude. I'm going to give you some money. I got $500 for you. I'm going to buy you out. I got like friends that are really, really great artists and writers, and they'll be like, yeah, $2,000, I'll do a feature, just buy them out, That way you don't have to worry about any of it. You can sync it. You can do whatever you want with it. You can make the money from it, and you don't have to go chase them down for anything. You don't have to get them to sign any sort of contract besides the buyout contract.
That's smart.
Yeah, that's like just how I learned how to do it, because I was so tired of chasing people down. But B would be to say, hey, look, we're doing this as like Clint just said, just have a split sheet in place that covers everything. It covers the master copyright, it covers the publishing, and the splits that are in place for what percentages are owed to whoever. And with sync licensing, it's the same clause. You have to say, I have the opportunity or the option to sign off on a sync licensing deal. I don't have to get your permission, right? And you can do the same thing for them. They can go chase a sync deal and make the money as long as they pay you what's owed to you. What do you care, right? Unless it's like a brand thing where you don't want to be established with like, a lettuce commercial when you're making some hard ass shit, like that. But that's going to be down the road when you're an established artist, really established, and you're trying to protect your brand. So it looks like we got some more questions. Oh, you guys are blowing up the chat. I like that. You get a bunch of hungry, good people in here, man, and that's what they do. Okay, so Josh is saying, adding to the above what Kev was asking about the feature, any recommendations where to get a good one-stop agreement template? Oh, I don't know. Do you use templates at all? I always advise just hit up like an entertainment attorney, because you just want to make sure like everything is covered. And in your state too, right? Like, because every state is different. Yeah, exactly. And it like, I feel like people think like attorneys are like, they get paid good, don't get me wrong, but like for a simple agreement, man, like some of them may even do like a whole package of, standard agreements for you for, one fee, and you're good to go. But and then a lot of times I'm getting the agreements from the companies, like they usually use their own, so I never really have to deal with that too much. But I do use, like, if I do like a work for hire, I have like a work for hire agreement, and things like that. And then an agreement if I have to, like if there's like an indie filmmaker and they want me to score some stuff, then, I have an agreement for that. So. Yeah, those indie filmmakers always screw shit up, man. I've got some weird contracts across the email, man. Like, you want me to sign this? Like, where did you find this? You know, like, you just do a quick Google search for like music contract, and then like, here, Brad, sign this. I'm like, I'm not signing that, dude.
Copy and paste a few paragraphs.
You know what I'm saying?
Put a line on it. Well, it should be good enough.
Yeah, that's good. Well, it's an indie film. It's not going to make any money.
And then it makes money.
And then it ends up making money. And then you're like, dude, what the
hell? Right.
What did I sign? All right, we got another one here from Jinzu Graphics. What's the primary genre that larger corporate advertising agencies are looking for, like an Apple or an Amazon, and how are they sourcing their music? Hey, that's a good question too, man.
That's a great question.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I can take this one because I have worked on Apple stuff. There's two ringtones on the iPhone that I worked on.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm about to pull them up.
It's hella funny because I have no idea what they're called. But I don't know how to like get to the ringtones either. Shows how cool I am, you know what I'm saying? But there's a couple ringtones on here that Apple, when I was working with Mark Mothersbaugh, they hit us up to do ringtones, and then Facebook hit us up for sounds. Mnemonics were really big, right? Like I demoed on Hulu mnemonics, apartments.com, basically like all these huge corporate places. The answer to the first part of your question, the primary genre that corporate advertising is looking for, always positive. You're never, ever going to get a commercial if you write this like super dark trap or like dark rock or dark anything. Like minor keys just don't work in advertising. Look, like you're trying to sell a product. I'm trying to sell you shoes. I'm trying to sell you this phone. Like I'm not going to be like, yeah, the new, it's all sad. Like the new iPhone.
I don't want you to be sad.
Yeah, it's like super depressing, Like, this is a Radiohead, like depressing Radiohead style. Like they're not going to buy it. They're not going to go for it. A lot of people are making decisions in that room. A creative team of producers, an executive creative director, all these people within the agency make decisions before it even goes back to the client to present to the client in that room. And then the client's advertising part of their business, say it's Nissan, right? They have to then go over the commercial and make decisions on the music, on the graphics, the cut, all that stuff. And if they see anything that goes like, that's kind of sad, that's kind of weird, makes me feel that's kind of creepy, that's kind of rapey, that's racist, that's this, they're gonna flag it. And obviously we've seen in the past like some things kind of get through the radar, and that's why people are just like furious online about that shit, because you have teams of people and 3, 4, 5 checks going through, and it still gets through all those people. That's when people go, that doesn't make sense. So
exactly,
you know what I mean? So there's those things, but that's the first thing I would say, Jinzu, is that everything's going to be positive, uplifting, happy. If you're going to do anything cool, it's going to be like badass with a smile. You know what I mean? Like, this is cool. Ford trucks, manly. So
you can just like listen, like literally just listen to commercials. Just sit there, like it's gonna be positive, upbeat stuff, for sure. So you're selling a car, man. You're selling a lifestyle, right? So people want cool, fun, exciting, adventurous. Those are all just like some things I would throw out there. And then as far as like how they source their music, a lot of the times Apple and bigger brands like this, they're not going to be going to like these big libraries. They're going to usually go to like specific music houses, and there's some big companies out there that aren't necessarily, I guess they are considered libraries, but I think it would be more like publishers. And they just go to the bigger publishers and the people they work with a lot. But that's typically the agency. Like the agency that has Apple, the advertising agency that has Apple as their account, they have their people they always reach out to for music. So they will reach out to multiple music houses, composers, bigger composers usually. And then
and then bigger publishers and stuff. And that's where they're sourcing their music. And that's why, you know, Clint, like he's working with those publishers because he knows he's getting his music in the pot.
Yep, absolutely. That's the key, man. Let them worry about the relationships and stuff.
Yeah, because that's, dude, who wants to, and then get E&O insurance and all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
People don't understand how much it goes into having, like, wanting to write music for an ad agency. You got to cover a lot of bases.
Yep.
All right, let's take another one. We got a lot of questions here.
These are good too.
Yeah, these are good. You guys are crushing it with these questions. All right, Bow Tribe. Hopefully I got that right.
Bow Tribe.
Yeah.
No Bow Tribe.
What's the opening line for music supervisors? It seems corny and awkward to approach or email a supervisor with the "listen to my track" line or something like that. Yeah. What? Hey. Yeah. I'd like to know how you approach that, Clint.
Shoot. Let me see if I have it like on my.
Right. You probably have like a little thing you always say to or open the conversation, right?
Yeah, like for like the subject or like the opening like paragraph or whatever.
I think he's just asking, like, you know, approaching a music supervisor with like, "Hey, listen to my track," you know.
Oh, yeah. Nah, so usually I'm doing research before I reach out to a music soup, right? Cuz I don't want to reach out blindly and just assume that they need everything, right? Or they need what I have. So I do my research, see what they do a lot of. This is what I did with the Netflix situation, right? Like I studied. Actually, it got even crazier because I was just listening to a podcast they were on like the week before. So I was unintentionally doing research already. So I knew what they wanted, and I knew what they specialized in. So it made sense. So then when I approached them, it was just, and this is even with libraries, you know, I just kind of introduced myself. Hey, my name is Anthony Clint. I'm a composer or publisher, just depending on, you know, what I'm doing. And, you know, I think for that situation, I was just like, yo, like I know you do a lot of this, and, you know, I have an amazing artist, that, you know, I forget exactly what I said, but pretty much a super brief introduction, the kind of music it is, and the subject. You can even put, you know, hip hop, R&B tracks, a la, and then whatever it sounds like, you know what I mean? Something that's familiar and that they would possibly be looking for. And then just a super brief introduction. This is my name. This is what I do. Sometimes I won't send music. I'll just say, you know, wondering if you're accepting submissions from new composers. And I just kind of approach it that way. The Netflix joint, I think I sent them a streaming link first because I kind of knew from the podcast, I already knew how he wanted to receive music. So it makes your life so much easier when you do that research beforehand.
Yeah, dude, that's a really good point, especially like if these supervisors or publishers or labels or whoever you're reaching out to, if they have anything online that they've published, like podcasts or been guests on podcasts, you find that a lot, right? Like Clubhouse, you know, they've been in these forums or whatever. You definitely want to do that research and make sure you're talking to people the way they want to be talked to.
Yep. And then like no life stories, please. Like that, they will just throw it in the trash, man.
Bro, today I got an email from someone telling me like, yeah, man, I'm sorry I haven't been, you know, reaching out or whatever. My wife kicked me out and like took my kids. And I'm like, dude,
oh my goodness.
That is heavy, first of all. Like,
it is.
Like, you don't want to be telling just random people that you've never met in real life that stuff anyway.
Yeah, man. Like, it puts people in an awkward position, man. It's like, I don't like, know how to respond to that.
I'm sorry, dude. Like, that's not something that I mean, dude, I play keys, I compose, I make some dope beats and sounds, but bro, like I did not go to school for that.
Exactly.
I don't know how to help you. I don't know how to even listen to that. Like that's going to be really, really something you got to talk to a professional about, you know? Yeah. So, and those are awkward things that you put people into where you go into the life story stuff. Like Clint's saying, like, if you start going on a tangent about how you started and like you really want this and you're in all this debt and this, you know, you're in a really hard spot right now, like people automatically are like, they're going to start stepping backwards from you and figuring out how they can avoid you, because you got to remember, like, this is a tough business. People don't need more obstacles. They don't need more negativity. They don't need more, you can't do this, or let me put my sob story on you. They need positivity. They need connections. They need people that are going, yeah, man, let's make this money. Let's get this going. Let's do this thing. You know, you're going to need all the encouragement you can. Yeah,
dude. Because, you don't want to carry that extra baggage to a project, man. Like, it's already, like, sometimes it can already be stressful just with working on the placement with the company and everybody, all the decision makers. So it's just like, yeah, dude, that's a huge turnoff. It's so funny because, like, all the stuff you're mentioning, like, yeah, I've gotten it.
Yeah, dude. But you guys also, if you want to get more into that kind of stuff, I know you have like a Road to 10 Placements kind of package, like info learning thing. Like, you guys got to tap in with that, because he talks about all that stuff in that. So, and
absolutely.
We'll post the link here on the replay and everything, so you guys can grab that.
Dope stuff.
Yeah, people got to understand, like, when you spend $50-$100 and you get like $1,000 in value, like, it's a no-brainer kind of thing, you know.
And honestly, dude, it's almost infinite in value, because if you just keep applying the information, you can't really stop making money. You know what I mean? Because
facts, man.
As long as you keep working, man, it'll keep working for you. So. Yep.
It's the only thing I spend money on anymore is investments and tax write-offs.
Same. If I can't write it off, man, I'm not worrying about it.
It's going to be a real hard purchase. You know, the wife trying to get me to go on a vacation. I'm like, yo, is there a seminar going on?
Exactly. Hey, that's how you have to live, man. Like, because you throw like, for something that you're going to do anyway, if you can figure out a way to like not necessarily hack, because you want it to be legal, right? But like, figure out a way to turn that joint into a business expense, man. And then you go on vacation for free. Yeah, like, sell your car, put your car under the business, like lease a car under the business, sell your phone, get a phone under the business, you know, like, just stop messing around, man. Like, everything's got to be a tax write-off. That's just a little slippery tip for you guys. All right, so let's get into another one. What's the biggest challenge? Chris Dingman, my guy, Chris Dingman, also in my mentoring group, which, you know, I take very seriously. What's the biggest? Yeah, these things keep disappearing. It's like, just stay there. What's the biggest challenge you faced so far in getting syncs, and how have you tackled it? Is that for me?
I don't know. I think you go for it, man.
Let's go for it. So the biggest challenge for me, because I don't know, like, a lot of some people may know, but a lot of people don't, is like, so I got my first TV placement in 2013, I believe it was 2012, 2013. But I learned about sync licensing and was like kind of looking into it since 2007, 8. So that whole time, man, like, the struggle for me was I was producing music that I felt like was dope, that I wanted to do, that I was just feeling the vibe to, which was a lot of neo soul. Like, I love neo soul stuff. So I did like a lot of neo soul R&B stuff. Love ballads. You know, B. Cox is one of my favorite producers. So nice. I love that stuff. So I could make a lot of it, like, in my sleep. So I struggled with that. And then I struggled with the structure. And there was no information really about that. And then, you know, even when you would go to conferences and sit down one-on-one with the critiques, it would be like some, you know, yeah, you're on the right track. It's just like, you know, putting it all together. And it's like, what does that mean exactly? Like, what does that look like? So I had to learn the hard way, man. And it took years to really figure out what was working on TV and making that shift to create stuff that was a lot of it was similar to, you know, top 40 stuff that was already popular, but they was just looking for, you know, kind of like alternative versions of it that had the same vibe. So it took years to learn that, took years to learn the structure thing. I was grateful to learn from a publisher, one of the first publishers that I started working with when I started the Road to 10 Placements. And he had just kind of put me up on game. He was just like, look, like, the tracks are dope, but he was just like, I really don't need them to be 3.5, 4 minutes long. Like, he was just like, you can cut it in half, make it a minute, like a minute and a half, 2 minutes max. And then, put this sting ending on there. So then I was like, okay, cool. So I started doing that. Then I started seeing placements. I was like, okay, there's a formula to this. And then once I learned that formula and I started seeing an increase in my placements, that's when, I knew I figured it out finally. So that was the most challenging hurdle that I had to overcome, was like getting outside of my own creativity and what I thought was hot in my bubble, and really expanding, my musical palette and going back to serving others, man, and giving them what they need. So
yeah, that's massive, dude. I think I think a lot of the times the people that have a really hard time in this business of like sync licensing and placements and stuff, they just don't know how to follow direction. They won't do stuff that's going to be outside of what they want to do. And it's going to be a really, really rough road if you can't like just follow direction. Very simply, like put that stinger in, leave that, when someone gives you direction, you go and you do it, especially if they're people that are going to get you placements or they know what the client wants. Yeah.
And that was something that I was always great at, is following instructions. Cause like, I don't know, like I talk to my wife all the time about it. Cause she can cook, right? But like, she can cook. Like, she don't need like instructions. I need step by step, bro. I need measurements. I need to know exactly what I'm doing, or this joint is going to be a disaster. So like, following instructions for me is like, yo, somebody already laid out the blueprint. I'm not about to go and try and recreate something. Like, that's more work for me. But a lot of people can't do it, man. Like, even down to like the submission, bro. Like, if you say submit one track, title it this way, so many people don't do it.
Bro, I do. I see that you do the same thing on your YouTube channel. I do like song reviews.
Yeah.
It's every single time. It's like, upload one track only, please. Like just very simply put. And then I get like 3 tracks from them, a music video. I'm like, bro, it's so easy to read. True. I didn't write a book. This is like a sentence, like, do this. And they're like, fuck you, I'm going to do whatever.
Yeah, man.
Like, what do you want? What do you want from me? And then you're going to tell me like, I can't get anywhere with my music. It's like,
this is why.
Just read, just pay attention, you guys. Anyway, let's move on to another one, because there's a lot. That's a great answer though. And I like the idea of the formula, bro. Like, that's everything. It's like, if you want to do something that someone else has already done, just find that person that's doing it the way you think is really dope, and then just model what they're doing. Just model, mimic what they're doing, and master that thing. And the thing about the internet right now that's really awesome is that, like, so many people are out there that you want to do what they're doing, and they even have like masterminds, and you can get on the phone call with them, and you can, and people are like, oh, it's too expensive. It's like, well, then go ahead, spend the 3 years trying to figure this out, or just like get on that call, ask them the questions, ask quality questions, and get the quality answers from the people that are already doing it. It's very simple.
Man, listen, every time I've invested in someone's time, a course, whatever it was, for information that can, move me forward, I've always seen a return on investment way past what I paid for, dude. Like
100%.
Like I literally, man, like I've spent thousands of dollars, like just this year alone, man, just like on information and consultations, because what people don't realize, man, it's like you shorten the learning curve. They already made the mistakes. Like, all you gotta do is be like, yo, like, what's the blueprint? What's the play? What should I avoid? What is up? Because they can see what you can't see yet, because they've already been there. Yeah. So you shorten that learning curve so much, man. Like, it's worth it. It's just worth it.
I think honestly, sometimes people are just addicted to to the whole like trying to figure it out, like trying to put the puzzle together. And then they put the puzzle together and they're like, oh, I don't really care about this. I just wanted to see if I could do it and put the puzzle together. I'm like, I'm not that person. Like, I want to make some fucking money with my music and I want to do this. So I'm going to go figure out who did it and how much does it cost,
Yep.
Like I just dropped $9,800 on a YouTube ads thing, program. I'm like, just show me how to do it. Teach me what you're doing. I need to run YouTube ads. I'm tired of Facebook ads. Here's 10 grand. Let's go.
And what happens when you get that information and you learn it? Like, know it now.
Invaluable. I would give $100,000 for it, right? Because I probably pay over $100,000 over time just making the mistakes and running ad spend and not making any money back off of it for years and years and years and not knowing why or what I'm doing wrong.
Yep, exactly.
So I'm in my late 30s, dude. I'm not trying to spend any more time trying to figure shit out.
Yeah, it's the time.
Like, you got a kid, dude. You know exactly what I'm saying.
Yep.
All right, let's get into how do you get connected in the commercial music business? Okay, so Christian, this is actually much harder to go directly to like advertising agencies. And we kind of touched on this earlier. Like, you'll need E&O insurance. You'll need an established company. You'll need to be able to follow up and sell and hit up these people and follow up with them over and over and over again and establish relationships with creatives, advertising producers. A lot of them are even like freelance producers, right? Where they'll grab a project and they'll get involved in a commercial project, but you'll still need E&O insurance. And most of the biggest agencies will require you to have $2 to $4 million in coverage, which can cost you a pretty penny per year just to hold that coverage. And then you're trying to get demo fees to demo on their commercials. And if they don't know you and you don't have an established reputation, or, they don't care about you, you're never going to get those demos with fees. So what I recommend instead, right up the beginning, is you start working with publishers and music libraries that work specifically on commercials. That's like the number one thing I would do. And work with other composers that have those connections, that are already writing on commercials and they're demoing on commercials and they're pitching out their library to commercials all the time. I do that, and I have a group where, I offer like, hey, you guys want to pitch on these sync briefs, because I'm getting sync briefs from publishers and stuff like that. So, and then, it's like, we'll do a split and stuff. It's basically like a collaboration, right? So you want to collaborate with the composers and producers that are already taking on those commercial jobs and try and get really, really good at following the directions and following the briefs and nailing that shit to where that composer or producer will go, man, you're killing it. You're really good. Now let me introduce you to the publisher that I'm working on, because there's no reason for us to be working on these together to pitch to the producer. You need to be working on these briefs as well, right? So that's the best way I know how to do it. And the best way I recommend doing it. Otherwise, you need to go find libraries and publishers that constantly pitch to advertising agencies, and they're looking for your music and they're looking for commercial music.
Facts. That's good stuff, dude.
I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about too, because you've done it. I guarantee it. Like, you do the collaborations, and then someone hooks you up with the person and says, "Man, Clint, you're writing great shit here. Just let me introduce you to the guy," and you guys. He'll give you the briefs, Yep.
It literally just happened this week. A situation like that. Yep. Exactly like that.
Those are the best, man.
Yep.
And then you make everybody money and make everyone happy.
It's a win-win.
All right. So let's get from I am Cedric, my guy, Cedric Collins here. Are there any music libraries that you would recommend?
Yeah, I know. Pink Shark Music. Is it DI or DL Music? I did a lot of stuff for
DL.
Vibe.
I think you're DL.
Lab Hits has been pretty cool. Producer's Toolbox, some good ones. Jingle Punks, that's a popular one out there. I don't know if they still have open stuff. Man, and then you got a major cheat code, man, is to go to like APM Music or like BMG Production Music, and they have a catalog of like all the libraries that are connected with them or do like distribution through them. And then you can like research those individual libraries and see if they're accepting submissions too. Because they have their hands in a lot of stuff as well. So I've gotten some Netflix show stuff placed through BMG, as well as like some, reality TV stuff. And occasionally they'll send me like custom projects and stuff too. So really cool.
Yeah, man, those are just, I mean, come on. You guys are just getting the gold for free right now.
I know, right?
It's like, here you go, guys. Here's your business plan. We just drew it up for you. Just go back, watch this again, take notes, and you got your business plan together.
Yeah. But I always like to tell people though, it's just like, there's no like, one best library, and it really depends on what you make, you know what I mean? So you still have to kind of do that research. Like, don't just hit these people up like, yo, like Clint was on a podcast and he said, you do pitching and stuff. Like, don't do that. Like, research it. And then the internet, man, Google, I'm telling you, like, there's gems on Google. So yeah.
Dude, Google is so good, and it's gotten so much better over time, just with like the AI and the way that it searches and everything. So you guys, like, the one thing, it's really funny you said that, because I would say, like, I went to school, I got a degree in sound, right? And like, it's like a bachelor's degree. So I had to take all the courses and take like real college courses as well. But after that, it's like people are like, would you go to college? Is that a good idea? I spent $100,000 on that, and that was not something that I took lightly. And I borrowed most of that money through Sallie Mae and federal loans. And that's all on me, right? So I'm still paying those loans, and I will be for another 20 years, right? I'm not in a hurry to pay them off.
Nah.
But like, a lot of people are like, whoa, was it worth it? Like, what did you learn? Like, I'll tell you, schooling and mentoring and just like getting around people that can teach you stuff, what they're going to mainly teach you and what you're going to mainly get out of school is how to learn. And that's the invaluable part of it all, is that you need to learn how to figure out what you're looking for. You need to learn how to ask really high quality questions so you can get high quality answers, so you can get to where you're trying to go. And a lot of the schooling and the mentoring and the stuff that you're going to get from people and from teaching and learning and stuff, it's going to be how to learn and how to figure things out. And, being an engineer, audio engineer, it's the same thing, right? You're just trying to figure out the problem and solve it as quick as possible, the straightest line possible. So a lot of the times, like for me, it's like, okay, I can Google and look for YouTube videos and like try to search all this stuff. And, people brag about that online. Oh, well, I just learned it all on YouTube. And it's like, cool. What'd you spend 16 years doing that? Like, and look at you, you're still not that far, but I learned it all on YouTube. And it's like, you could have literally spent like 10 grand and learned it from someone in 10 weeks. Like, it's just, don't waste your time, guys. Time is not something to play with. But I digress,
It's true, though. That's good.
It's just, dude, that's what I learned in school, is just how to learn. That's it. Like, that was the biggest takeaway.
Yeah, and that's the best thing, is to learn how to learn, because, we shouted out some libraries, but what if they shut down? Now you're back to ground zero. You don't know where to send your music. So you still have to go back and figure out and know how to find these companies. And yeah, that's why I love teaching people and giving them the tools to know how to do something from the ground up, how to find music libraries and music supervisors from scratch, how to structure a track from scratch. So because that's what you can continue to replicate over and over, and like nobody can take you out the game, because you can go back and recreate everything.
Yeah, it's the same thing when people ask me about like, hey, what's the best plugin for, what are your EQ settings for, it's like, bro, you got to learn the tools and like what they do,
Yeah.
Because if you know what the tools do and you know why they do them and, how they work, then you can put them and apply them to whatever, and you can get the result you're looking for. But, that's kind of lost on people, I think, like, in 2021 going forward. And I think probably the biggest skill set that most people that are going to succeed going forward are going to have is understanding things on a very, cohesive level. Like, you have to understand it, like how it works, why it works, what it's doing, not just, hey, how do I get $1 million? Oh, you got to go sell 1 million things, like you have to understand like the process and why and what and everything, the intricacies of it, And I think that's kind of lost on people now. It's like they want the plug and play thing.
Yep.
They want the template, I mean, I sell more templates and presets than I do like my mentoring group and like the master classes I put out, that I'm like, this stuff is like worth so much money. It's like so invaluable. It's so crazy that people just want Logic presets.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it is, dude.
Don't you want to learn how to use them? Make your own, like it's crazy. Like, most people don't want to learn how to fish now. They just give me the fish, bro.
That's it. Yep. They don't want to learn how to fish.
Yeah. And then the fish run out and it's like, nobody's got fish for you, bro. You got to go catch your own fish now. Anyway,
that's good.
Dude, I really appreciate you coming through. Honestly, like, I think this will be really cool. I'm going to chop this up and I'll repurpose it. We'll throw it out for a podcast. And I just wanted to go live because I knew there'd be some great people in here asking some really good questions. So,
indeed, man. Yeah, no, this was dope. I appreciate you having me, man. And it's always good hanging out with you, man. You're always dropping gems and making everybody laugh. So I love that.
It's the hair, dude. I just let it go,
Yo, but you have this whole vibe, because like I checked out your music as well, and I'm like, yo, like he's killing this vibe. Like everything matches, and I love to see artists do that, man, because I don't think people understand, like, you can't have like a 70s vibe with like 2000s music, you know what I'm saying? Like everything has to match, the branding, the fonts, like the colors, bro. Like it's on point, man. So shouts to you, man. Yeah,
that means a lot, man. I've that's like, I think maybe just working in advertising so long and just growing up with, I grew up with MTV2, Much Music, VH1. They played music in music videos. That's what I grew up on. Those were my influences, It's just different world, I guess. And
it is.
Yeah, man, I think the art is like so important to keep. You have to keep the art. The art has to be alive. And the biggest part about art that people I wish would do more of is put their art into everything they do. Into reaching out to music supervisors. How do you do it creatively? Into how you dress, into how you hold yourself, do your thing, and everybody's just looking for pointers. They're looking at what's Drake doing, what's Kanye doing, what's Nike doing. It's like, you gotta do your thing, because nobody has that shit. You
can't replicate it. It's original, 100%.
So that's the key for me. I just, and I think you get older, you stop caring as much what people really think. You're like, yeah, fuck it. So where can people really find you? Obviously you guys got to subscribe to at Clint Music, his YouTube page, right? Because he's dropping gems all the time. He's doing music reviews. You guys got to tap in with him. Tap in on Instagram at Clint Music, and I love that you got it across the board, right? At Clint Music. Let's go.
Oh, is it showing? I didn't know. I was just typing my name. That's what's up.
No, but that's 100%, right? You're on every platform at Clint Music.
Yep, at Clint Music. And then if you're listening to the podcast, Music is My Business podcast, available wherever podcasts are available. So yeah, that's where I'm hanging out, man. That's
right. Well, I appreciate you, man. And happy Wednesday. Go kiss your baby.
I know, right now. He's asleep, man. He's been sleeping 2 hours now.
Oh yeah, you're in Atlanta, dude. You're over there.
Oh yeah,
9 o'clock, 10 o'clock over there, huh?
It's 10 here.
All right, bro. Let's do this again. Let's get into it some more.
Okay, will do, man. Take it easy, man. Peace.
All right, peace.